Nope. Oh my goodness, this is not sensible. Come on! Assetto Corsa EVO version 0.4 arrives today on the 4th of December. It was initially going to be released towards the end of November, but it was pushed back by Cuno Simulazione. However, to sweeten the package, it's added a couple of new bits of content. One in particular is significant because it's the first of its kind in almost exactly 3 years. Now, we have actually already done a video of the 0.4 update on Assetto Corsa EVO. We filmed that back at the Sim Racing Expo when we had early access, and we talked about all of the cars that were included in that, from the drift version of the Supra to the BMW M3 E46 CSL and the Ferrari F40 LM. We also talked about all three of the new tracks, Road Atlanta, Oulton Park, and of course, the Nürburgring Nordschleife. So you should definitely go and check out that video if you haven't seen it already. However, in this video, we're going to be focusing on the two new significant pieces of content that were not initially planned to be part of the 0.4 upgrade. The first addition is a fourth circuit. You can see here Monza, and it is of course a 2025 spec version of Monza, so with the new curbs and everything, we're going to be looking at that. That is important in itself, but of course it's just another circuit. What we're really interested in, and is the thing that I was talking about before, which is significant, is this Ferrari SF25. Yes, this is the current day Ferrari Formula 1 car, the first Ferrari raced by Lewis Hamilton and of course his teammate Charles Leclerc, hauling this car around to as many points as they possibly can. It's not been the most successful year for Ferrari, that's putting it lightly, but it's very, very cool to see a modern F1 car in a hardcore sim. Not only do we have the car, we've also got livery options as well. So you've got both Charles and Lewis's cars from the Canadian Grand Prix. You've also got the special Miami livery with the extra blue and the different wheel covers. You've got the Italian Grand Prix livery there as well. So 3 different liveries to pick from, and of course, variants for both drivers of all 3 of these. Now, I said we haven't seen a car of this type in almost exactly 3 years, and what I mean by that is an officially licensed current day Formula 1 car in a hardcore simulation title. Yes, we've seen official F1 cars in EA Sports F1, of course, with EA having the license. We've also seen them in Real Racing 3, for instance. But this is the first time since iRacing launched the Mercedes W13 back in 2022 that we've seen a kind of current day car implemented into a modern sim. And that's cool because we get to drive it, see how it feels, we can talk about all the systems and things like that. And there's a lot to get into with this car. So let's hit the track at Monza. In fact, just before I do, a reminder that there are plenty of other things happening with version 0.4 on Assetto Corsa EVO, and you can keep up to date with all of the latest news and updates via the TraxionGG website. And of course, if you subscribe to this YouTube channel, you'll not miss any of our future uploads either. Now let's hit the track. So here we are, there is the SF25 in all of its glory in the pit lane. Just going to jump into the car setup real quick. You've got the usual stuff with tyres, pressure, tone, camber, it's all fairly straightforward. On the electronics tab, we have some interesting things here. We've got engine map, ERS deployment map, ERS recharge level, and ERS heat charging as your 4 options. I'm going to talk about all of these when we're out on circuit. Just like the real thing, we've got 3 different slick tyre compounds. You've got slick soft, you've also got mediums, you've got hards. You can see it changes the colour of the Pirellis as well. Then you've got intermediates, which are green, and of course the wets, which are blue. We have a 120 litre fuel tank. And honestly, in terms of setup, not much else other than that. Yes, we can change some of the suspension stuff, the anti-roll bar, the brake bias, differential, and some of the aero. We can change the ride height and the wing angles, but that's it. So actually, setup-wise, it's fairly straightforward. More of the complex stuff from the setup actually comes from the in-car adjustments you can make to the electronics. We'll talk about stuff like that as well, but there are quite a few things you can adjust as you're driving. Gonna hit drive, and the last thing I'm gonna show you is, if we pause the game, if you go into view settings where you normally change your FOV and your seating position, obviously we can do all of that as normal. We can also head to wheel and dash, and we can turn off the halo visibility. So that's also new for this update, and of course it's the first time it's been relevant, so that makes sense. But just so you know where to find it, you have to be on circuit, you go into car view settings, and then you change it from here. You can't actually change it from the main menu anywhere, which is a little bit annoying, but after a little bit of searching, we found it. I'm going to leave the halo on, simply to punish myself in authenticity. And then we're going to hit the track. Okay, here we go then, onto the circuit. Start with some basic facts about modern F1 cars. They've got 1.6 litre turbocharged V6 engines, produce around about 850 horsepower, but up to 1,000 once the hybrid system kicks in, because that gives you some extra performance. They weigh around about 800 kilos with the driver as well, so not super light, but obviously not heavy, still less than a ton considering all of the hybrid power units and everything that's going on in this machine. It's pretty impressive, and they are a lot bigger than they used to be. Now straight out the box, you can feel that the tyres are a bit cold. The car actually grips up quite nicely immediately, but you can feel that you don't quite have the grip there. You can see I'm having a little bit of a slide there mid-corner. I'm understeering a little bit, so we're going to try and get some heat into the tyres. You can see quite clearly down in the HUD the temperatures we've got all around. Now the other thing that's interesting is we're pretty much in push mode from the off. Now there are different engine modes that you can select which will change how the hybrid system is used, and that's crucial to driving these cars in terms of obviously a hardcore simulation. We want to be able to simulate some of the stuff the driver's going through, and clearly a lot of it has been thought out here in Assetto Corsa EVO, so I'm going to show you some of that stuff now. If you actually set buttons to adjust performance mode, you can see on the right hand side of the screen we've got 6 different performance modes that we can choose between. So going through them, we've got performance mode 1, which is push mode. You can actually see the letters PSH underneath the gear indicator on the steering wheel, and you've also got it on the right hand side of the HUD underneath the gear indicator. So push mode is basically your full attack qualifying mode. If we move to the right, we've got race mode. So this is kind of a more balanced use of the battery. The next one along is called balanced, so it's essentially a second race mode. Both of these just show up as race on the steering wheel, but you can see which one you're in based on the little word in the HUD on the right hand side. Then you've got LICO, which is lift and coast mode, so if you're trying to do some fuel saving, that's the mode you're going to be in. Then you've got CHR, which is charge, and then finally you've got a wet mode, mode 6. All of these settings essentially change the amount of battery usage that's happening in the car. It changes the throttle map, it changes, or the engine map I should say, it changes the deployment mode, whether or not the MGU-H is actually charging or deploying as well, which is basically the heat element of the recovery system. So instead of talking about recovering energy through braking, through kinetic energy, MGU-H is essentially recovering energy through the heat from the turbocharger. So essentially by going through performance modes, you've got a bunch of presets for all of these things, and that changes how the car behaves overall. Yes, you can go in, as I say, and tweak every single one of those elements individually. I mean, here you can change the ERS deploy number, we can change the ERS recharge number. I've actually assigned so many different things, I've forgotten what's what here. You can see, you can change the engine map as well individually, but you really don't need to do that because of these presets by changing performance mode, which keeps it a bit more simple. You can see as well, you've got a state of charge bar at the bottom of the dashboard on the steering wheel there, so it says SOC. You can see it's now got a red section, a green section. That will go up when you hit the brakes and recharge. You can see it going up by 1 bar there. I've got a little bit of head movement on, so maybe you didn't see it very well. Other things you would expect on a modern F1 car, you've also got a ERS overtake mode button, so I'm holding that now. The HUD actually turns purple when the battery is being deployed, so you can see now I'm doing 290 kilometers, I'm going to let go, and suddenly I stop accelerating, so you can manually deploy a little bit of extra battery power if you've got battery charge, of course, which will give you a bit of a performance boost. I'm going to switch now from push mode to something a little bit more balanced, so we'll go with balanced. I'm going to instantly start losing time on the relative lap time delta. Now, as you might expect with a modern sim, we also have DRS, but it can only be activated in the DRS zone, so when we get onto a straight, I'll show you that. In fact, this is the DRS zone. I'll change the camera angle. And there you go. So I'm holding down or pressing the button to open DRS. You can see it opens on the rear, and then when I hit the brakes here, heading into Ascari, that closes. But if I try and open it where it's not a DRS zone, so coming out of Ascari, for instance, I'll click the button now, and no DRS. So once again, nicely, accurately implemented. There are other electronic adjustments that you can make while driving to stuff like the turbo and the differential and the dampers, but also electronic brake bias, otherwise known as brake migration. Now this is something that's quite important in a Formula 1 car, and you can actually adjust that. In fact, you need to kind of go to the cockpit cam to see it on the steering wheel. So there you go, BMIG, so brake migration. Ooh. But you can see there I can change it anywhere from 1 to 6, or 5 actually. 5 is the maximum. And what brake migration is essentially is active brake balance. So when I get hard on the brake pedal, the brake bias, if the migration is up high, will actually shift forward, and then it'll shift back to its original position when I ease off the brake pedal. Now, if the brake migration is turned off or turned very low, there won't be a shift in brake bias. It will be static. It will stay the same. Whereas with the number up high, it's going to shoot forward. Now, I want to see if the brake migration was actually implemented properly. So I did a little experiment. Accelerated up to high speed in 6th gear. I've got brake migration all the way up to number 5. It's not showing up properly in the HUD at the moment, unfortunately. And when I lock up the brakes now, the fronts lock, the rears are still spinning, then the rears lock. So the fronts would lock before the rears, which would make sense if the brake bias was quite heavily far forward. Now, I'm going to turn brake migration all the way down again. I'm going to do the same thing. So brake bias back to its original position, essentially. And then in the top of 6th gear, I'm going to slam on the brakes. And both the fronts and the rears lock at pretty much the same time. So subtle little difference there, but clearly that shows that the brake migration is actually effective. And now, I've got pretty big flat spots. Gonna come to a stop, see if I can actually see these, because the flat spot simulation on Assetto Corsa EVO is amongst the best I've ever seen in sim racing. I mean, look at the detail on the tyre. If I just roll it round, on the right-hand side, there it is. Look at that flat spot. That's phenomenal levels of detail. Very, very impressive. Not fun to drive with, though, so I'm going to pull into the pits and take some new tyres. A quick word from today's sponsor. Looking for the ultimate sim racing experience? Then check out SimX Pro with its range of cockpits, seats, mounts and accessories, designed for durability, precision and comfort. Trusted by sim racers and led by real-world racer Johan Ackerman, SimX Pro is reducing the gap between motorsport and sim racing. Visit the website simxpro.com to explore items such as the GT-RS cockpit, made from premium-grade aluminium profile, or the heavy-duty reinforced XT120. And why not get the seat to match? The Torque GT is made from a race-derived composite, and the Olix GP is built to withstand up to 300 kilograms of force. Precision equipment, engineered in the Netherlands, driven worldwide. Drive your dream today at simxpro.com and click the link in the description to find out more. Anyway, it's about time I stopped talking about all of the boring electronic details and authenticity and actually just started talking a little bit about how the car feels, because that's what I'm sure a lot of you want to know about. So I'm going to just do an outlap here. We're going to recharge the battery and then we're going to go for a bit of an attack and we'll talk about it. On the outlap, in fact, let's talk a little bit about Monza, because as you can see, it is a very recent version of Monza. So you had a lot of big curb changes and upgrades in 2024. A lot of the big sausage curbs were gone, curbs were flattened. So here, okay, there's a big sausage curb still on the inside of the chicane, but the main curb's a bit flatter. Got a very flat exit curb. Coming through Lesmo 1 and 2, everything's kind of as you're used to, really. I think there's a slight difference with the curb on the exit there of Lesmo 2. Ascari is a big difference, because remember we used to have these big sausage curbs on the inside, and look, now it's just a flat bit of runoff area. So Ascari's actually become a lot easier, I would say. I think it just makes it a little bit more straightforward and you know where you're at with it. So I like the new curbs at Monza, and of course the important thing for authenticity and realism is that we have an updated version of Monza that is pretty much current day spec, which is obviously great to see. So we can drive a current day F1 car on a current spec version of Monza. Anyway, let's dial back down your engine mode. I'm pressing the wrong button. Performance mode, there we go. Into push. And let's do a proper lap at Monza here. So you can see I'm instantly gaining on the relative because I'm in full push mode. Brake late. Of course, braking performance on F1 cars is crazy good. Just avoiding a front lock up there. Can't even remember what brake migration's on. I kind of want it somewhere in the middle. Now, my first impression actually driving this car is super positive. Now, I wasn't a huge fan of how the F1 2004 felt on Assetto Corsa EVO when it first rolled out, mainly to do with the force feedback and the way that the car actually handled in the corners. There was something just fundamentally a little bit odd, especially when you started braking traction. In this car, the force feedback from the get-go feels natural in my hands. I'm kind of looking for quirks or things that feel a bit strange. I haven't managed to really find them yet. It's still early days, but every time I turn into a corner, feel the car on the way through the corner, it's doing exactly what I would expect it to do through the steering. I feel very connected to the car. We'll see if we've got enough battery for another push, but then you can see the battery's now kicking out in 8th gear. I'm dropping the speed, dropping on the delta. Tried to be late on the brakes into the chicane. Just got to watch a little bit for traction loss on the exits when you nail the throttle, but it's pretty good. I mean, these cars obviously have a lot of downforce, but they stick pretty well. I would say one thing I've noticed is mid-speed corners, the back end gets a little bit looser than you might expect. So again, we're going to just fire through these chicanes. I've still got a lot of lap time to find in my driving, but I can be pretty brave on the exits, which is nice. It's just medium speed through the Lesmos and also through the Ascari chicane. Sometimes I find the back of the car is a little bit looser than I might expect at those sorts of speeds. Normally in 4th to 5th gear, you know, in a Formula 1 car like this, you would expect it to stick pretty well, and it does. It sticks really well, but there's just a couple of times where you have to sort of manage it and get comfortable with it. There we go. That actually stuck pretty well that time. But you can see now that we've kind of drained the battery. Our lap time's nowhere near as good as the previous lap, so it is realistic in a sense. If you want to go for a flying qualifying lap, you really have to kind of save your battery and do it over an individual lap. There you go. There's a little bit of a rear step out at medium speed. we'll go back into a kind of balanced energy recovery mode, and I brake too early for the first chicane because I wasn't carrying as much speed in there. But yeah, early signs positive from the way this car drives. Obviously, not really able to race it yet, and of course, because we've got our hands on this slightly early, I'm not able to test out what is going to be, hopefully, the new daily ranked races. Because yes, as part of version 0.4, we finally should be getting daily ranked races. We can't, of course, test them right now, so this is all theoretical, but you should be able to go into the game, click on the link to the daily ranked races, which should take you to a website, and then from that website, you should be able to enter the ranked races. I'm not quite sure how the system's going to work. We've seen kind of preview videos of it in the past, but I'm sure all will become very, very clear as of this release. Car sounds good as well. Oh, it's just that second part of Ascari there through the right-hander, trying to keep it pinned in 5th gear, and I just begin to lose the rear slightly. I wonder if you could dial that out with a little bit of setup tweaking as well. But yeah, I don't really have any complaints about the way it feels just yet, and I've not maybe tested it enough to really stress every single corner of the force feedback and the physics and stuff like that. It's much more of like a first impressions, first go, but nothing to write home about yet in a bad way, put it that way. I'm really enjoying it, and I think that's also a key thing here. You've got to be able to jump in these cars and enjoy it, and yeah, genuinely enjoying it. Now, of course, as I've been saying already, a key for me with this is having an authentic, officially licensed Formula 1 car in an authentic hardcore simulation, because you get to experience the authenticity of driving a modern F1 car around a modern F1 circuit. That, for me, is a cool experience. I think lots of people are really going to enjoy it. However, the other cool thing about sim racing, and 0.4 update in particular, is that we get to do stuff that you wouldn't necessarily get to do in real life, that isn't necessarily authentic, but you can experience in an authentic setting. And that is taking a Formula 1 car around the Nürburgring Nordschleife. And joining me for these German festivities... I'll do that again, I can't speak. You just reverse back past me, I'll go again. And joining me for these German festivities is none other than Traction's very own Ross McGregor.
Hello there.
So, we're taking the SF25 outside of its comfort zone, let's say, by going for the tourist route here at the Nordschleife. I know you've already driven this car a little bit today, Ross. Any first thoughts?
Well, I think this is out of our comfort zone as well as the cars. But yeah, I've actually been enjoying it quite a lot. It's it feels quite lively to drive. Feels quite nice. Sounds correct as well. So yeah, I think it's a bit of a winner for Kunos.
Yeah, it's a good start for me as well. So this tourist lap, obviously we need to get a bit of warmth in the tyres here, but it starts actually when you go under the concrete bridge. So the lap's technically already begun, but obviously we're not up to speed yet. So I think it'll take, as you can see, Ross, mad understeer.
Whoops.
It'll take a sector or so to get the temperature in the tyres.
Maybe a lap.
Let's see. Oh! I saved it!
Yeah, that's still quite lively.
Fronts seem to have come in a little bit. We're at 80 degrees. I think you were saying earlier the optimum you found so far to be around about 100.
I think it's about 100, yeah. Well, it's certainly 100 in real life, supposedly.
Ooh. I'm not there yet, for sure.
I think once you get over 90, it starts biting a little bit more.
I got my rears up to temperature a bit quicker, thanks to that mistake. Anyway, let's see what it can do.
You need fast corners to get the kind of aero working.
Yeah. The Nordschleife has plenty of those. We've already come through a few of them, and I mean, it is just mental driving a car with this much downforce around this circuit, because there's so many sections that I feel like I know the general kind of speed, but I'm so used to driving it in like a GT3. Whereas you jump in this car and it's like you have to completely recalibrate your brain. Slipstream.
Oh.
Flat out through here.
Panic.
Oh. I've got a good exit. Going for the move. Oh, overtake button on, but it's not doing enough. I'm going to have to back out.
Okay.
Oh.
Approaching the famous corner. Miss.
But flat out. Somehow flat out.
I love that part of the track. You hear the downshifts like so clearly.
Yeah, the car's sounding really good. The reverberation from your car as well.
Oh!
Whoa. Good save.
I'm clinching.
Go. Oh! I'm trying to squeeze by.
Oh.
Nope.
Oh, he's got me.
That was a good exit. Oh my goodness, this is not sensible. Come on!
Just channel your inner Misha Sharudin.
Come on, Misha. Carry me through. I just see the front nose of Ross's car sneaking out the side. Oh my goodness. I mean, this is all easy flat, but I don't know what it's going to be like too wide.
Difficult.
I had to panic lift there.
Oh, jeez.
Don't know how I survived, but we're still here.
I think I've just been mounted.
Going for an alternative line. Didn't work. Nope.
I'm feeling the bumps there, that's for sure.
Can't seem to overtake around the outside of the carousel. Right, this section is mental in any car. I think in a Formula 1 car it's going to be absolutely ludicrous. Oh. Safety lift. 5th gear.
Driving noises.
Absolutely flat. Oh my word.
Flat out here. Oh.
Don't trust the curb.
Driving noises.
Hang on. You don't need the roller coaster at the GP circuit when you've got this. My tyres are now very much over temperature. Ross! Oh.
Ross!
I'm not an opera singer.
Gone.
Oh my goodness.
This part of the track is so good in this car.
Right, I've only got 2 corners now to catch up. Oh, mini carousel.
Oh no, made a mess of that.
That was good. That was good. Come on. There we go. The slipstream is just mega effective. Look at that. Straight back at me again. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Oh, no. I think I win. Oh, no. I haven't made it yet. No! No!
Hey!
Ah. You know, I reckon easily under 5 minutes. Easily.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is mental, but yeah. Great fun. I have no steering. I mean, you can see the damage model
That's
working
realistic.
there as well. Front right is totally twisted up. Ross is trying to get into the restaurant.
That's the toilets. It's been that kind of lap.
And on that note, thank you everyone for watching. Do let us know down in the comments below if you've tried 0.4, what you think of the new content, what you think of the state of AC Evo at the moment. And yeah, subscribe for more content in the future. Check out the website on a daily basis where you can read articles from the likes of Ross and of course the whole editorial team at Traction. And until next time, thank you so much for watching and have a great day.